Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week is episode 26.
26.
Yeah, and we are talking music today.
Yeah, that's why I did that.
Yep, so stick around if you want to hear more. Hello again then, Dad. You alright?
Yeah, apart from
we've said hello.
Yes.
Like I haven't seen you all day.
Well, you haven't seen me for a lot of the day, but yeah, it's absolutely sweltering hot, Connor.
It's quite warm, isn't it?
It is like we're in the centre of the sun.
Do you know what the temperature is at the moment?
What, in this room?
Well, in general.
I think I'm about a degree off spontaneously combusting.
It's 29 degrees Celsius.
29? I can't believe it's 29.
Yeah. It's just gone up to 30 degrees Celsius. And for any American listeners, that's 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, that's how I know temperatures, though. If someone says, it's going to be in the 80s, that's how I know it, rather than it being in...
Celsius?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Why?
That's always how it has been. It's 90 degrees today, and that's how you know how hot it is.
No, Celsius is...
No,
in this country,
no,
yeah,
we
but in
talked
this
about
country is a
in the
major
last one.
thing. But in this country, Celsius being the major thing.
You know, I don't
So
like to be
what
like
year did we
everyone else.
move over to Celsius?
It was 1970s when we did metric. No, I have no idea when we switched, but we certainly used to talk about
Celsius,
it being...
well, I mean, let's be honest. Celsius doesn't fall into the metric. Well, I guess it is metric, but
I don't know.
in
I
that
don't
units,
know why there's...
well, it's Kelvin is the one I think we should just measure everything in Kelvin.
How many is it in Kelvin then?
I just have to quickly work that out in my head. I believe it will be 304 degrees Kelvin.
That's definitely...
304 Kelvin.
It definitely feels 304 Kelvin a day.
Does it?
Yeah. Because I'm all Kelvined out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
I know it doesn't.
Is
I'm
it
so
because
hot,
you're worn
Connor,
out?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is warm, isn't it?
Yes, it is warm.
You've got no shirt on.
I know. Think yourself lucky. It's the only thing I've taken off.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he's got a nice postman tan as well.
Super postman tan.
It's
I've
like
been
he's wearing a
showing it
white
off.
t-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because being out in the sun all the time, you're very tanned.
Yeah.
Apart from anything that's covered by any bit of clothing.
Well, I can't stop buying T-shirts from our website.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So,
Wow, what a segue!
I know.
You know it is worth mentioning though. At the date this podcast goes out,
Yeah.
there's only a couple days left on the current discount on the store, so
When you
10%
say a
off.
couple of days, because there's a lot of problems with measurement, is that 2 days?
Yes.
Okay, so
Well,
couple still means a couple of days, means 2 days.
yes.
Good, right.
Well, it ends at midnight on the 27th, so it depends actually
Wow.
what time of day you're listening to this, but
You better get on it, people.
yeah.
If you want to get those fabulous discounts.
Yeah,
and
there's a hoodie
bankrupt
on
us
there now.
even more. A hoodie on there as well.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that last week.
Did you?
Yeah, there's a
I
hoodie on
still
there.
sound amazed then.
Yeah.
I have seen it, yes.
Although
of course
I'm
I've
not
seen
sure
it.
you need a hoodie in this weather.
No, definitely not, no.
No.
We might have to start doing some Speedos or things like that.
Yeah. I think we
Dodgy
can do
smugglers.
bikinis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go for it then. What, with our faces, one
Yeah.
on each thing.
Bosom.
I didn't know what to say.
You
then.
didn't, did you?
Cup. Bosom. And, no, anyway, moving on.
What's this podcast about?
Music.
Yeah. Should we start discussing music?
All right, we'll talk about music now then.
Yeah. Nothing
Alright.
else you want to mention?
No.
No? All right.
We'll go straight on to the music then.
Straight on to music.
Yeah.
Is this what straight on to
Yeah.
music is? You know, we're almost 4 minutes in.
Okay, well, you better get started then, eh?
All right. Music then.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, okay. Music is a huge part of my life, right?
How big?
It's huge. It's 20
Can you measure it in P's?
P's. It's almost 29 P's.
29 P's. That's
Yes.
a lot of P's.
It is. No, music has always been a big part of my life, from either listening to it or playing it. You know, it's something that I probably listen to music more than I watch TV, and I watch a reasonable amount of TV. You know, it's obviously I've been around a lot longer than you, so
Have
I've witnessed Yes, I have witnessed. That's how it works. Generations. I've witnessed.
Are you my dad?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I am your father.
26 episodes into the podcast, I've just found out you're
Big
my
reveal.
father.
Excuse me.
Oh, what was that?
That was someone coughed over in the corner there.
Oh, was it?
Yes. So, I mean, I've obviously been part or witnessed a number of genres, you know, and obviously things keep coming back in and all the rest of it. But so I was born in the 60s, as we ascertained from previous podcasts.
Yep.
But then you've got, you know, through the 70s and the disco and the punk. To the 80s with new wave and there's always been sort of pop, but that came through then, and the sort of what was that?
I don't know. One of my nostrils started to be a bit funny, so I was just...
Did it?
Yeah.
We should get it on here then, because we need a bit of funny. Yeah, so that's sort of, and then you start getting into sort of, there was the boy bands and I'm not saying they were particularly ones I liked, but
they were.
Process pop.
You love Backstreet Boys.
I like a certain Backstreet Boys song. And you know, going all the way through, and it's come to, it's sort of come round in a circle, because the music isn't overproduced anymore. It's more sort of cut back and acoustic. There's a big sort of want for having that sort of stuff anyway. So yeah, I mean, I'm always listening to it. And I'm still finding bands that they might have been around for a long while, but I still find new bands by, you know, word of mouth or just some recommendations.
Just recently, a very recent band you've just kind of fallen into was Wolf Alice, wasn't it?
Oh, Wolf Alice, yeah. Now that's really strange as well, and this is the way music is. I was listening to the radio, and they didn't even play the song, right? They just was talking to two of the band, and they were talking about in the fact that during lockdown they've recorded this new album that's going to come out, and then they said about this particular song, and the person who was on the radio said, "Oh yeah, I saw your performance on Jules Holland doing this song." So as soon as I got home, it just intrigued me. As soon as I got home, I looked it up. Now that could have been something that I didn't like at all, but I loved it. It's called The Last Man on Earth, and so then I started looking. The great thing about things like Spotify, the Spotifys,
you can listen to our podcast on Spotify. You can listen to our podcast.
You can listen to our podcast on that. But the great thing about it is you can seek out stuff like that. So you know, I can start listening to tracks and albums, and sometimes it's just one song a band does, and then the rest of it is not your cup of tea, sort of thing. And then obviously in the past you might have gone out and bought that album or bought the CD in there, and then thought, actually I only like that particular song. So it's a good way of doing it.
I listen to I don't know if you do it, but over the past year, it used to be that I just listened to a handful of bands. And actually, I'm just going to go slightly off topic here, but when you mentioned about having listened to the radio and listened to them talk about it, one bands that I really like is Bastille.
Yeah.
The way I came about them was there was a survey at school and someone was trying to work out some different things or whatever. And one of the questions was, out of these bands, who do you prefer? And one of the options was Bastille.
Right.
And I didn't pick it because I haven't really heard of them at the time. And then I went home and I thought, well, listen to them, and I thought, wow, I really like these, and they ended up becoming one of my favourite bands. But when it comes to things like Spotify, I used to listen just to these bands like Bastille, 21 Pilots, stuff like that, and I used to just listen to them like almost on loop.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and mix things up, and you've obviously got the daily mix, and that's what I really like about Spotify is they do a daily mix,
as much as
a weekly mix and stuff like that, and they just throw loads of songs that you know, songs that you like. Quite often it is the same songs on these daily mixes as well, because they're based on one similar, and there's not new songs coming out every single day.
No.
Or it's at least certainly not in like the genre you might be listening to.
So
and they put all these in, so it meant that I've discovered bands that I'd never heard of before. AJR being one of them. I'd never heard of them before. Heard a song on the Daily Mix. Ended up listening to like all their albums because I really liked it.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of bands like that, but more so sometimes with songs, just the individual song that you really like from one band. But that's one of the things I really like about Spotify.
No, definitely. I don't use that as much. And, I mean, this is not all about Spotify, but I don't use that option enough. And I think it's a bit like I know it can get a bit silly when it says you like this, then you might like this. But, you know, sometimes bands within that sort of bracket, you know, it's quite good. You know, they're slightly different, or they slightly bring something different to it. No, it's great. And also seeing, I think a big way to discover new stuff as well is going to festivals.
Yeah.
Because obviously when you go to a festival, or when I've gone to festivals, I've looked to see what the headline acts are. And if the headline acts is someone I like, nearly always there'll be a number of bands I like in that lineup. But there's always some surprise bands within it. And it's always, you know, and then you get to see these bands for the first time and you think, oh, right, actually, quite like them. I saw the Cortinas at the V Festival once, and I'd not really heard much of the Cortinas.
The Cortinas were at Reading once when I was there.
Oh,
I didn't really watch them,
and I came back from there and I started listening to some of their stuff and I loved it. And, you know, I mean, it's them showcasing their stuff anyway, but it works both ways, doesn't it? So.
I mean, back one we went to together,
yeah.
On my 17th birthday, we went to V Festival.
Yeah.
And I remember it was very, very hot, much like today, and we just
decided... It was 4 billion kelvins.
Yeah, sure. And we just wanted to chill, and so we went to the main stage, where obviously the further back you go, it's just... There's loads of space just to settle down.
Which is quite nice. I quite like that.
It was me, you, and... Shout out to Sue.
Shout out to Sue, she's back.
Me, you and Sue, and we all just laid back on the grass, pretty much eyes shut, just listening to the band that was on. The band that was on was Hosier.
Oh, right, yeah.
And now they're another band that I really went on to like, because every time I listen to their songs, I just think of this hot weather just laying there, just completely chilled out. And yeah, and that's what's really cool about that. And with festivals as well, I think we could end up doing like an entire episode on festivals at some point, but I like the fact that you go there and you listen to all these things you wouldn't necessarily listen to, because there's something to do. Like, you just, even if you're just walking past,
well, it's walking from stage to stage,
seeing people
almost,
that
as well.
you wouldn't, without sounding funny, Tom Jones, quite big, I personally wouldn't just go and buy tickets just to see Tom Jones.
Nor would I, Connor.
However, Tom Jones was playing at the V Festival, so we thought, might as well go and see Tom Jones.
We went over to that stage, didn't we? We were watching...
Churches was another one from that one,
Oh, that was actually from the same stage. And then Mark Ronson was on.
Yeah.
And then Tom Jones came on and we hung about. But it was good fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt he can perform. Wouldn't necessarily be someone, like you say, that I'd pay money specifically to see. But as part of that package, that's a great way of listening to music, of finding out new bands and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And there's certain bands as well for the certain moment. I was at V once and I went to see the Proclaimers. Now, I've got no strong feeling about the Proclaimers, but they're certainly not a favourite band of mine. But at that point...
Did you not walk 500 miles to see them?
I walk 500 miles all the time, and that's why it must annoy me so much.
Right.
I certainly don't want to walk 500 more as well. I went and started watching them, and it was great fun, because at that point, on that day, in that moment, that was exactly what I wanted to see, you know. And it was good fun. Everybody was really joining in, and, you know, I think you're guilty. I was guilty over my lifetime of being quite precious about music, quite precious about the bands I liked, and I wouldn't like other bands because they didn't sit within that. I mean, as you get older, and perhaps I don't know that you're like that at all, but as I've got older, I've realised, no, I like what I like.
Yeah. So. I think there's this thing as well that there's a stigma around certain bands, Coldplay being one of them. I know they're one of your favourites, but a lot of people dislike Coldplay for various reasons. But there's a lot of stigma around boy bands as well. Now, for example, One Direction. Growing up, I was growing up within the generation that all the girls were obsessed with One Direction and all the boys were like, stop going on about One Direction. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I never really got into their songs, and there's a lot of songs that I'm not fussed about. However, there's a couple of songs later on that they started to make, like, for example, History was one of their songs that I actually really quite liked, but I was almost being told, oh no, you can't like that because it's One Direction. But I ended up just going, you know what? No, I actually quite like the song. And I think that's a lot of what you need to do is with music, is just go,
Yeah.
you can have your, I want to say guilty pleasures, but even guilty pleasures, there's no
That
need
makes
for
it sound
don't
like
feel
you
guilty
shouldn't.
about
No,
it.
no.
Yeah.
And
you like
another,
what you like.
exactly what you were saying there, but a slightly different part of it. I used to have an issue with people that didn't write their own music. You know, so if a band was just someone wrote for them, so they just stood up on stage and that, and they didn't have any input whatsoever into it, they weren't my sort of band.
Yeah. When it comes to music, it kind of goes without saying that a lot of my music taste, and I guess the same goes with most generations, I might change it to more recent generations, is often influenced by your elders, by your parents,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Very much so for me, there would have been a lot of music that you used to listen to in the car, like to and from school, for example, when you're dropping us off, picking us up. Just other music elsewhere that you'd always play, that they just kind of become ingrained, and you end up they make you feel certain things like homely and stuff like that, and you end up just falling in love with the genre of the music. I mean, one of my favourite bands is Imagine Dragons. One of the big reasons I kind of discovered Imagine Dragons was because sitting in the car driving. I think you were driving me to one of my mates' houses, actually.
Possibly,
playing Night Visions, their album. And I just listened to it. I was thinking, wow, I really like this.
Well,
and just led me to listen to it more. And actually, I think, to be fair, with Bastille, I listened to Bastille when I got home from this place. And then I seem to remember you playing a CD that had like 2 Bastille songs on it. I think it was Things We Lost in the Fire and Pompeii.
Yeah.
And I remember you driving along, I think we were driving to Wickford at the time. And to Natton's, and you were playing it. I was thinking, oh, I've listened to these guys. Yeah, they're really good. And it was one of those moments we would both just discovered the same band at the same time.
No, without a doubt, you get influenced by. I mean, and you're right.
I spoke very fast, and I just realised.
Well done. One of the things I love about music is it brings back memories. It's
like Hosier, like I just said.
Yeah, it's linked to certain feelings. It's linked to I can get quite serious about all this as well. This might not be the messing about one. We might do that at the end, but you know, it's
I think it will be coming at the end.
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry.
Is that bloke coughing in the corner again?
Yeah.
You're always coughing.
I know. But yeah, no, it's very much tied into people. So a song will remind you of a person, a mood, a time, you know, a feeling, you know, everything around it. So what you said about that, yeah, I hear things like, and for instance, that Imagine Dragons album was just one of those albums that comes along which I didn't think there was a Duff track on, and I loved it. And yet you started listening to it, and you now, I mean, I've seen them live as well, but they're a big thing for you, and I haven't. Yeah,
I've seen them live 3 times.
You've taken that on a notch in a way, in the fact that the new stuff, you're more likely to have heard the new stuff and tell me about it now. So it's weird how these things work, and it's always makes me laugh when I hear one of you kids singing a song that really you wouldn't have any. Well, it wouldn't be necessarily played on the radio, so it's probably something from way back, and it's only because we've played it on the you know, in the car or at home.
Well, quite often as well, I think there's a lot of retroness nowadays, isn't there? And
also lots of radio stations are for specific decades, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
or films and stuff like that. I mean, again, I keep mentioning Bastille, but they're quite big on. They've got these series of albums called Other People's Heartache, where they play other people's kind of heartbreak type songs. And the other day I was singing one of the songs, and Mum was like, "How do you know that song? How do you know that song?" I said, "Well, Bastille got a version." Like, I quite like it when bands, sometimes it gets pushed too far, but when bands like a song so much that they do their own rendition.
Yeah. I do think that for people to do covers, I mean, when some people play live and that, they can play other songs, it doesn't really matter. But for people to play covers, I do like people to slightly go off skew with it, like take it in a different direction. Because if you're just doing the same
Oh
song...
no, I'm not a massive fan of when they just sing the same
No,
song.
and I've
exactly
heard
the
the
same.
one you're talking about with Bastille, and that's spot on.
It's Wild World, isn't it?
Yeah, but, right, and this brings me on quite neatly to two big bugbears of mine.
Well, they're huge.
Sorry, it's the way I'm sitting. When someone turns around and says, "Oh, this song, you know, the one by," and I'm going to pick an example here, the Saturdays, and they did "Just Can't Get Enough,"
I just can't get enough.
Right.
That one, yeah.
and it was apparent that somebody thought that was a Saturday song. I'd never heard the original, and it infuriates me, being that they're so close to my heart, Depeche Mode.
What, the Saturday? Oh, okay.
No, not the Saturdays. I've got no massive problem with the Saturdays.
You know what? I think of the
And
Depeche Mode version more than the Saturdays version.
You probably do, but you know,
That's even my generation would probably think more of the Saturdays version.
yeah. And then, I mean, for something like that. So, Depeche Mode are huge in my life because not only have I seen them countless times over the years, every time they brought something out, I would see them in concert. But they all grew up in the same town as I grew up in. They were a few years older than me, but the lead singer, Dave Gahan, went to the same school as I did. You know, the other guys are at another school within the town. I used to see them around town.
I mean, it makes sense that they have a school in the town
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're from
They
the same
played.
town.
Yes, quite. They played in some dodgy old nightclubs within that town, and they came out at a time when it was sort of electronic music, synthesizers was throwaway pop. Right, no one took it seriously. A lot of people were very angry about it because they thought it put musicians out of a job, but it never did, and it was a genre in its own. They are now. I mean, oh, God knows, I should know how many studio albums they've done. But
Would you like me to subtly Google it?
No, you don't need to do that. But if you think about
Would you like me to obviously Google it?
1980s, when they first, in the first part of 1980s, when they came onto the scene, and they're still touring now, and they are incredible to see. I saw them a few years back.
Weren't they the ones who goes, "The train is coming,
Yes,
the
yeah,
train
that's
is
them.
coming." That
But
one.
they're the longevity of that band. I mean, they played at one point. They were playing in America, in Pasadena, to hundreds of thousands of people. You know, this is stadium gigs by a little synth band, and you know that they are and always will be close to my heart. Although I don't love everything they've ever done, but you know, an album like Violator, which had, you'll know, has Personal Jesus on it, and Enjoy the Silence, which are it's probably when they're at their most popular since the very early days. It's just an incredible album again. So, you know, bands like that have influenced me over many, many years. Other people, I guess, on a totally different sort of sign is like I love female vocalists. Something about the female voice.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bush, very divisive. People, yeah, your mother hates her. She's a genius. In my eyes, the woman is a genius. She doesn't write songs for the masses. She writes songs...
Just for you.
Well, it feels like it sometimes, but they're unique. There is no one quite like her. And yet, loads and loads of people cite her as an influence, you know, and yet, you know, she's not a recluse, because I think that's a bit of a myth, but she puts stuff out now as and when she wants to. She toured at the beginning and then only did a few dates because, unfortunately, I think someone died in the concerts at the beginning, one of the stagehands now, and it shut all that down, and she never toured again. Alanis Morissette, huge fan of hers, even if we do have to, in the old days when you kids were sitting in the back of the car and we had to quickly get the volume knob or cough really loudly when the swear words were coming in or anything quite dodgy. But again, she's been going for years, still comes up with original, clever beautiful songs.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'm just going to move on slowly because I am quite cautious of time.
Yeah, sorry. I
That's all
told
right.
you I would wax lyrical about all of this.
He's been wanting to do this episode for a very long time.
Yes.
So anyway, I think it's worth mentioning that we both got a little bit of musical background-esque.
Well, yes.
You've been in
a sort.
bands.
Yeah, I've been in bands.
You've written music,
Yeah,
like music. I've been in a more of a orchestral band.
yeah,
I played clarinet.
yeah.
I was that cool, like Squidward.
Look,
I've written some music.
Believe
in
me, I
GCSEs
sat and
stuff
listened
like that.
to that stuff, and it was fantastic.
So we've done a fair bit of our own music, and when it comes to playing music,
Yeah,
that I always used to find was quite cool in the fact, especially from my perspective, being in that kind of, we were in a wind band,
yeah,
and being there playing your one single part. If I was to play you that one single part a lot of the time, to be fair, I was clarinet, it was quite melodic. It was
Yeah.
the actual tune and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
yeah, quite often.
melody, and you could get it. However, it's when you just threw everything else in there, and it was just being part of that and creating this huge sound in some of these really cool places as well. Like we've gone to Germany, Belgium, and stuff like that. Was always was really big for me. Was really quite fun, stuff like that. How about
Yeah.
when you used to perform and stuff like that?
Well, the first band we formed, me and a few mates from school, I bought a synthesizer. Probably at the time it was quite a lot of money. My mum and dad helped me with it. We got it on sort of a hire purchase sort of thing. And we used to play at our school. We infamously played at a school disco for the younger kids who really thought we were the most uncool people they'd ever seen. But we had aspirations. We played in like a battle of the bands and things like that. Eventually those guys, we went off to uni and all the rest of it. But then as soon as I got to work and started working in a couple of jobs met up with a few other people.
Well, you worked in a record shop at one point, didn't
Well, I
you?
worked in a record shop. That shows you how
probably
much I
worth
love,
mentioning.
all this. But so I worked for a bank, but within that bank, I met a guy, and he said to me, "Oh, you play music?" Yep. I go, "Oh, do you fancy doing this in a band? We'll get to," and we started doing that. And it's just over the years. I mean, I went from playing synthesizers. I can play a bit of guitar because I was taught a little bit when I was at school. But in various bands, I've played bass guitar, lead guitar, piano. I sing a little bit. I don't really sing. But I write. I love writing songs. I love the process of sitting there with an acoustic. A wonderful gift from yourself. I had some guitars stolen, and then you bought me an acoustic guitar.
Electroacoustic.
Yeah, semi-acoustic, and it's incredible. There's not many days I don't pick it up, even if
Yeah.
I play a few chords on it. And it's funny, you talked about earlier on about the music and getting into it, and you said about Hosier. And I've often sat in my room and shouted out to you, "Tell me a good acoustic song."
Yeah.
And you'll say, "Is it Cherry Wine?"
Cherry Wine was always a really good one because they
and
play it
things
live
like that.
in a garden.
And now
you can
I
hear
had
the
never
birds in the
heard of that, and I
background.
wasn't likely to hear that song. But you told me that. I looked up how to play it and practiced and played it. And it's.
Yeah.
I love that process.
We also live in quite a privileged area. We've got our next door neighbour who's incredible. He's really good at.
He's a very good musician.
One of my mates from school. Actually,
Oh, Ted.
I'm going to mention him.
Yeah.
Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know if I should mention his surname. His name's Ted, and he's got Seaview on Spotify.
Why don't we put a link to his thing on our?
Yeah, I might link to his particular song
Yeah.
on Spotify, because it's really good. But anyway, we live quite privileged in this area that they've also got a lot of great musicians. Nothing But Thieves from
for him, from local,
locally.
aren't
I mean, they're good. They're not my favourite, but I know a lot of people that really love them. And just briefly, because we really probably should be quite brief with it, but have you, because I was thinking about this, most of the bands I really like, I say most of them because sometimes I discover more, but most of the bands I really like, I have been able to see live in
they?
some
Wow,
form.
right, okay, yeah.
How about you? Would you say Like, I'm talking about the big bands, like my top bands.
Oh, so like ones that I would have loved to have seen. Well, I was very, very lucky to go and see Bowie, which was incredible. I know people throw names out as if to make themselves look, these are cool. Well, it doesn't matter to me that, but he was incredible. I think one of the bands that, for a number of reasons, I won't ever see, was Queen. Now, I'm not by any means a massive, there's people out there that know all their stuff and all the rest of it, but they had such an impact live, and obviously there was Live Aid.
I mean, you can see them without Freddie.
You can, but I think that's the... And I've got nothing... I always get mixed up. It's Adam Lambert, isn't it? Because there's a guy... Adam Levine, I think, who's in Maroon 5. But anyway, Adam Lambert, he's brilliant, really good. But it's not the Queen that I would have liked to have seen. Other bands, I don't know. I mean, all the ones, my favourite bands were people like Depeche Mode. Tears for Fears was a huge band for me. I've only seen a couple of
the Fish
times.
like them.
Yeah, the Fish like Tears for Fears, don't they? Mad World. Love Tears for Fears, a wonderful band. You mentioned them earlier on, Coldplay. I will fight their corner with anybody. I think it's very, very easy to go, I hate such and such. And I've challenged some people on it, and I say, well, what don't you like about them? And they can't tell me. But I mean, bands, sitting here now, I cannot think beyond Queen at the moment, the ones, and I suppose it's because I could never see them as I wanted to see them. That's the big thing.
Right, so this week, in the spirit of it being music, we haven't actually got an advert this week, but we have got a song.
We have got a song, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a bit more than that, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, I will do then. Yeah, this song was written quicker than it should have been. It was inspired by our rise from mediocrity as a podcaster to levelling out at terrible.
Right.
So no, basically it's a song about us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, but
that's all right. I'll hit play then, yeah?
Hit play.
Once upon a time, not so long ago, son had an idea as we're all stuck at home. Why not record a podcast? Sounds like a bit of fun. Might just cheer us up, and we won't just stop at one. There is a podcast you can choose. What have you really got to lose? Except your pride and sanity. Oh, and some friends you never see. You know you might just learn something, as long as you know nothing. And the best thing about it is it's absolutely free. Father came aboard and the partnership was set. They talked about subjects as Bigfoot, space and pets. They fill the air with nonsense and some very special games. It can't be long till Father serve and they make the sun a day. There is a podcast you can choose. What have you really got to lose? Except your pride and sanity. Oh, and some friends you never see. You know you might just learn something, as long as you know nothing. And the best thing about it is it's absolutely free.
Now it's my turn to have some fun. This is MCC, Detective Inspector Connor. Or something for short. You can work that on your own. Here we go. Father and Son, it's a podcast. They said it would not last. They talk about the future and the past. They leave me aghast. It's a blast! Father and Son, it's kind of fun, full of puns. It's the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing, so give it some loving. Connor the Son, he's so techno, he's got a big beard and a bit of a waffro. Father's old, too old probably, he can't see well and he's challenged follically.
Shout out to Susan!
11 of diamonds. Wow, what a song.
Oh, quite. Well, I think it sums up. How long are we doing the podcast?
26th episode.
I think it sums up the journey that we've been on.
February, end of January, beginning of February is when we first put one out.
Blimey. So, yeah. So, yeah. Quite.
Half a year.
Yeah, half a year. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, it moves me emotionally when I listen to it. So, especially the rap at the end.
The rap was fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah.
See, and we used a few genres within that song, so you know we're trying to do something, aren't we? We're trying to stretch the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about stretch the boundaries, let's move on to the next section.
Game time.
Woohoo! Right, so for game time this week,
Yep,
it's something a bit different.
was indeed.
Now, previously, I think it's what we'll go into what this is a bit more in a second, but previously we've come up with ideas for stories, for TV shows, and we've pitched them, we've gone through them. Now, normally we come up with about 3 or 4, maybe sometimes more. This week, we've got music for you, and we've written a song each.
We have.
Yeah. Now, this is actually based off of... we used to listen to a podcast called Adam and Joe.
Yep.
Adam Buxton and Joe Cornish. Like this is when I was back in school, and it was hilarious. We actually, when we went to Wales, we listened to it on the way up there as well.
To it. Yeah, it's
But
weird.
they used to do a section in it because they used to do it on their Radio 6 show. Sorry, they used to do a section called Song Wars, where they would come up with songs and put them against
They'd
each
have
other.
a certain subject or something, and then they'd both go
Yeah.
away during the week and write.
The
a
Halloween
song.
one was particularly good.
Yes, was yeah.
Look at the jars. Anyway, so with this particular one, there was one particular episode, where they had the Grazia magazine,
Yep.
and they both took the Grazia magazine and they had to come up with a song based off of that. Now, we decided to go with that idea a little bit.
Yes, we did. We
We-
stole it.
We
and
stole it, made it
morphed
our own.
somewhat. Yeah.
We each got given a magazine by the other. Now,
Well, yeah. I mean, it was slightly different to what we first thought because you gave me a magazine of yours,
yeah,
but I didn't give you a magazine of mine because I
No.
thought the magazine I would get would be Empire magazine, like about films, which is I thought would be an easy thing to do.
yeah.
So what magazine did you have?
Should I say what I gave you?
Well, you can say what you gave
actually,
me.
shall I say what you gave me?
Go.
All right. So you gave me one of Mum's magazines.
Yeah.
This is the Garden. It's the RHS magazine, Royal Horticultural Society. Royal Horticultural.
Royal Horticultural Society.
It's the July 2021 issue.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Yeah. How about your magazine? What was yours?
No, my magazine was. I mean, these. I'm surprised we got hold of it. They must be going like hotcakes. Practical Fish Keeping.
A fish keeping magazine. Wow.
Wow, yeah. Blimey, is that how much it costs? July 2021.
How
This
much
one
does it
was
cost?
$4.99.
This one's $4.95.
So yeah, this what certain things that it's got on the front, you know, exploring for fishing for fish. Exploring doesn't actually say it like that. Exploring for fish in Vietnam, feeling blue, the colourful world of Badis. I mean, I've learned a lot from this magazine.
Yeah, I mean, this has got the where the wild things are. It says masterful meadow style planting in Suffolk. Very exciting.
Saucy.
I'm trying to turn the page of the magazine, but forgetting I've got a mic right in front of me and a headset on. So we both took a particular, I would say, article from the magazine
Yeah, we chose our own one within it, didn't we?
and wrote a song about it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Now, who would like to go first?
Go for it.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
Right, so I'll start off by saying I did actually choose one particular article called Border Control.
Border Control, interesting.
And I thought that'd be quite funny. You could be quite good music to that. But I changed my mind because it was far too hard.
Oh, right, okay.
So I then ended up going for... it's something they actually put in every single issue. And I thought it'd be
Contents
quite interesting. It's not the contents page. I'm trying to find the particular page.
Advert for stair lifts.
No, it's not an advert. Wow, you're really
Synatogen.
segregating the audience now. I can't find it.
Sensible shoes.
Sensible shoes for...
Sensible people.
Oh, I've got it. Right. So, this one is they do a checklist like every month of what they think you should be doing in your garden. So this one is the checklist for July.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got things that they like.
What you should be doing at this time of year.
Yeah.
As we're in July.
Exactly. So what I thought is I'd take this and I create a bit of a story and I put some characters in it. One of the characters you might recognise from the musical. He was one of the residents' voices.
Oh, no.
But
I
yeah.
hate those people.
Oh, right. So, so I wrote this. Now, I will say it's not in time because I just thought part of the fun of it is it wasn't in time.
Okay.
It's not sung, really.
Okay.
And
there's lots of disclaimers on this.
Yeah, but I thought it was all right.
Okay, I'll go first then. No, go on.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, just look.
So, what I'll do is I'll hit play then, yeah?
Hit play. I'll close my eyes.
Yeah,
and
picture yourself.
Yeah.
There. Oh, it's a nice day. Just picture yourself.
Sitting on a patio chair.
In a garden.
I can hear the birds.
Right.
There's a wasp. Oh, get away, wasp. Yeah. I'm sorry, go on there.
Yeah, all right, I'll hit play now.
You alright, mate?
No, I'm stressed about my garden. I feel like I've forgotten something.
Why don't you make a checklist?
What a great idea. Let's make one now.
Have you planned your planting?
Yes, I've taken note of everything in my garden.
Have you improved your sweet peas?
Yes, I've added extra sugar.
Have you kept your mower blades high?
Yes, they're on the shed roof.
Have you rejuvenated your bearded iris?
Yes, I gave Auntie Iris a shave last week. I just don't get it. How could it be? This month's meant to flow so easily.
No point worrying, you can just try. Now let's make the checklist for July. Have you fed your baskets weekly?
Yes, they had a sandwich at Kit Kat for lunch.
Have you sowed your late beans?
Yes, but I did them early.
Have you topped up your pond?
Yes, I had a wee in it earlier.
Have you encouraged your herbs?
Yes, I put a post next to them saying, you can do it. The grass is cut, the plants are watered. I've given them more attention than my daughter.
We're nearly there, no need to worry. After this, do you fancy getting a curry? Have you monitored your bird bath?
Yes, they now have a big screen right next to it.
Have you tidied your citrus plants?
Yes, I've organised them alphabetically.
Have you shaped your evergreen topiary?
Yes, I cut it into the shape of a bush.
Have you supported the hedgehogs?
Yes, I set up a youth football team to encourage them to spend their time on the street. Oh, a curry. I'm really warming to ya. How about a chicken korma?
How about an naan or a poppadom? But first, let's just finish this song.
Oh, I think that's everything. I just can't think of what I've missed.
I know what you've missed.
What? What is it?
You've spent so much time in your garden that you haven't seen the letters. This one says that the government has repossessed your garden as it's believed to be on a site of archaeological interest and they want to dig it up.
So that was all for nothing?
It appears so. Here they are now.
Hello, I've come to find some bones.
Wow. I absolutely, it's important to say neither of us have heard the other person's song until now. I absolutely love that. That is brilliant. It's blown mine away. Oh dear, no.
Could you tell when I recorded things, I basically recorded it to see if it fit in a small gap, and then I didn't bother recording it again if it didn't work.
I'm gutted. That's really good. That is really good. Yeah, I love that. Really good idea as well.
I thought just coming up with very obvious ways of taking every single.
Oh, it's really
option on the-
stupid, but
Yeah.
no.
Stupid.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I come to find some bones.
Spawns, yeah, I've recognised that voice, yeah.
Did you recognise? Have you fed your plants?
Yes, and I've got that one as well.
Have you
No.
got my takeaway?
You should be happy. Yeah, you should be happy with that. That's very
Oh,
good.
thanks.
Unfortunately,
I look
I've
forward to it taking
gone
the
in a
world by
different
storm.
direction.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
which direction would that be?
Oh, okay. So I'll talk you through my one then. Yeah.
Yeah, start
Oh,
talking through
dear.
your one.
So I had practical fish keeping, and the article I chose was called "The Eye of the Beholder," right? And it's basically about one man's love-hate relationship with shrimps, right? And in particular, punching shrimps, as they're called. Right. Go on, you were going to say?
It's a peacock mantis shrimp on the front,
So
isn't it?
why is it called? Oh, because that's going to make the song make even less sense if that's the case.
Well,
Right,
it's,
anyway.
no, it's a peacock mantis shrimp.
Yeah.
They're also called punching shrimps.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
It's actually something that you mentioned in the in one of the previous podcasts.
Did I?
You,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
you were
okay,
trying to
I don't
list
remember.
different animals that were real, and I went, "Oh, I know that one. It's a peacock mantis
But
shrimp."
this, there was a man, and he talks about his first sight interaction with one of these said beings, and how that sort of passion and relationship about the peacock mantis
shrimp.
and
Yeah,
or
all three of
punching
those.
shrimp, as I like to call them, developed. So, I really just got as far as that, and then decided I'd write a song around that, and it didn't work, and then a little bit worked, and then I changed it all, and then I scrapped that song, and I wrote another song, and yeah.
And
so-
now we're recording the episode a day later than we should be.
yeah, I know. So everything's gone wrong with this. So, and that's mainly because of me. So, I'm very reluctant to do this, but press play.
All right.
On a holiday in Devon, it was my idea of heaven. Until the moment I was bitten by a Platyquilla eucybia, and things weren't quite the same, and that shrimp should take the blame for ruining my holiday. You says to me apart, I says to mine apart. There's no reason for us to fight. You say Caribbean, I say Caribbean, but you know I'm the one who's always right. I like punching shrimps, I hate their fishy faces. It might be kind of shellfish, but it's true. I like punching shrimps, thumping a stomach apart. You might think it's kind of odd, but what can I do? My first interaction was an unpleasant distraction. There was something about this shrimp that made my heart sink. Something wasn't right, he was angling for a fight. So I rolled up both my trouser legs and I waded right on in. Says to made apart, I says to made apart. There's no reason for us to fight. You say Caribbean, I say Caribbean, but you know I'm the one who's always right. I like punching shrimps, I hate their fishy faces. It might be kind of shellfish, but it's true. I like punching shrimps, thumping a a stomata pod, you might think it's kind of odd. But what can I do? I like punching shrimps. I hate their fishy faces. It might be kind of shellfish, but it's true. I like punching shrimps, thumping a stomata pod. You might think it's kind of odd, but what can I do?
Wow, I love it. I think it's great.
Dear. I've learned a few new words.
It's a lot more musical than mine.
Is it?
Yeah. It feels more melodic.
Well, I done it as a sort of ballad. Like I
Yeah.
say, it was sort of a
The genre was very different.
the drum roll.
I really liked like the emotion in it.
Well, there was a lot of emotion in it. I was really getting fed up with trying to write that song. Really? What I think, the only saving grace, I don't know that there's another song that's got the word Platzi Squilla Eusebia, which is the Latin name for a punching shrimp. Another word for them being stomatopod. So I managed to get all that in, but yeah.
Well, I really like it.
I'm thinking of sending it to the person that wrote that article to see if they,
Go for it. Why not?
see if they'd like it.
See
If
if
they
they'd
feel,
like
it
the
feels
podcast.
like it encapsulates their whole feeling towards that particular species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the article called again?
Oh, it was called something different, wasn't it? It was called It Gets the Mango.
You called the song "Punching Shrimp," didn't you?
The Eye of the Beholder.
The Eye of the Beholder.
Yeah, I
I feel like the song really fits in with that name.
Punching Shrimp. So I took the fact that it's called that and then made it a violent sort of song. Perhaps
Yeah.
I should have done it as a sort of gang rap sort
Yeah.
of. Yeah. But
That's the
yeah,
sound of the
no, I
police.
I decided to go in a different direction. But there you go. I mean, it's not about who's his best. Yours is best. But
Who's his best?
but yeah, it was a challenge. It was a challenge, but
It was.
funny, but brilliant. I love yours. I love it. It's great. I'm looking forward to listening to that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got it on.
Yeah, I'll have a look. I might even put all these things together,
Share it with
and
you.
we might have to put, something out with just the songs on it or
Yeah,
something.
but don't
like
make too many promises, yeah.
that. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying it for the sake of it.
We're not making promises to you.
Okay, so how are we doing? Do we need to wrap up, or we?
Well, I think that pretty much takes us to the end of the podcast,
It
doesn't it?
does indeed.
And I think it's probably quite good that we wrap up now because I haven't actually put the songs into the edit yet, so I don't know how long they're going to take.
Although we did listen to them.
We did listen
It's
to them
important
live,
to
yeah.
say we did listen to them then. We actually played them as we had that sort of gap between them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, there's so much I'd like to talk about with music. There's a huge amount more. Perhaps we'll come back to it. But, we managed to get a few things in for this particular one.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun as well.
Was?
Big build up to the songs at the end.
Yes.
And talking about just songs briefly, I had a little bit more thought about my mate's music, and I'm thinking he's put himself on
Oh, what, Ted?
Spotify.
Yeah.
He's put himself on Spotify. He's put himself out there. So his name's Ted Groves on Spotify, and I don't feel like I need to bleep out his surname because
No.
he's the one that put himself on Spotify.
Yeah, it's a different sort of thing. Yeah, I get that.
And the song particularly that I like is called Sea View. Yeah. So if anyone wants to give that a listen, it's fantastic. It really is good. I went and watched him perform it live in Lee because he did Lee Lights. This wasn't last year, obviously, because of COVID.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
Not the red light district, like
No.
Lee
no,
Lights,
I
where they
thought
turn
I'd
the
kind
Christmas
of
lights at
misheard you.
Christmas.
Right, go on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lee Lights.
They
Yeah.
They turn Christmas lights at Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know. I'm aware
And
of it.
just saying. But anyway, he performed then. It was really, really good. I was singing along. It was great. But anyway, that's it
Yeah?
for this week.
I might. Oh, I bumped into my microphone then. I wrote an album in while we were at home and not allowed to go out. It's called Isolation. It has a number of tracks on it. I might release it at some point. I'm just saying it quietly. I don't want him to hear.
Want who to hear?
What?
Oh.
So,
You're
wrap
making
up
more
and-
promises.
No, I'm not.
Right, yeah, so I think just going back again, it's worth mentioning again that that the sale on the store,
Discount
stuff on the store,
Go for it.
has only got a couple of days left. So have a look.
It's quite a decent discount.
Yeah,
It will cost you something.
it will cost you something, that one. But yeah, and there's been new stuff added to the store as well. If you checked it out before, go and have a look again. We've also got plans for some more stuff going on there.
Yep.
Do you want to mention one of them? Because if we mention it, we'll just have to put it on there.
Yeah, go on then, mention it.
Right.
And then
It's the 11 of Diamonds
T-shirt.
We made a T-shirt. We made a T-shirt that says, "Is this your card?" And it's a callback to the 11 of Diamonds thing. But I tell you what, I just really like how it looks.
I'm going to get one.
Yeah, it looks just really cool.
When's the discount code? Do we get a discount?
Yeah,
or do
we
we
get
not
a
get
discount.
discount because we're employees?
We get a discount.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll order one straight away.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's on there. And remember to check out the store. But whilst you're on the store, there's lots of other stuff to do on the website.
Yeah, give it a look.
I
We'll
like
keep adding stuff to it.
Yeah. You can see all the episodes on there. We've got a blog page on the website where we put some different things on there. And Dad still promised to do a recipe at some point, so I'm still expecting that at some point soon.
Yeah, it's in
It's
the
in the
process
works,
of being
yeah.
done, yeah.
There's a contact page where you
Yeah.
can leave questions, comments, suggestions. It might be quite good if you used it to talk about the songs we wrote this week, if you want to
Oh, yeah, okay.
critique them,
Critique them. Yeah, I
or
don't
just
know that I
say
want
they're
that.
really good.
I'm quite sensitive.
But yeah, that's our website, fatherandsundays.com, by the way. And if you want the shop, it's fatherandsundays.com/store. So yeah, that's the website. And remember, you can listen to us on a number of different platforms. You can also, like Spotify, we've mentioned that today. You can also leave a review on ones like iTunes. That really
Yeah.
helps out if you want to do that. But we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Remember to follow
We'll
us
try
on
and keep
those,
them
like us on
updated,
those.
yeah. We put something
Yeah.
out again today.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
We did, because we released the previous episode, the 1970s,
Yep.
today, the day of the recording. But yeah, and we hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
To everyone globally, because we've noticed a bit of a spike of different people from different countries recently.
It's unreal.
It is
where
really cool.
it's being listened to, yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody, no, I mean, didn't start it to do it, but thank you for listening, because it is nice to know that there is people listening.
Mm.
We enjoy it anyway, but it makes it that little bit more worthwhile, and it ups our game as well, because we think we need to do something a little bit stronger. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, thanks so much. You got anything more to add?
No.
All right then. Well, in that case, we shall see you all then. Well,
Next week,
we won't see you at all. You can hear us again next week.
can indeed.
All right then.
Bye bye.